The forgotten victims of the U.S. government's secret radiation experiments, dogs. When we think of medical experiments, we might imagine clinical trials, animal testing, or even controversial research on human subjects. But what many people don't know is that the U.S. government has a long and disturbing history of conducting secret experiments on unwitting animal subjects, often with devastating consequences. And in the case of the U.S. government's secret radiation experiments, dogs were some of the most tragic victims. In the 1940s and 50s, the U.S. government was keen to learn more about the effects of radiation on living organisms, particularly in the context of a potential nuclear war. To this end, the government established a series of secret research programs, which involved deliberately exposing animal subjects to dangerous levels of radiation without their knowledge or consent. These experiments took place across the country, in universities, hospitals, and military facilities. Dogs were a common choice for these experiments, as they were easily obtainable and their physiology was thought to be similar to humans. In one infamous example, known as the Beagle experiments, the U.S. government subjected hundreds of beagles to intense radiation exposure in order to study the effects on their organs and tissues. The dogs in these experiments were subjected to horrific conditions. They were kept in cramped cages, often in complete darkness, and given little or no food or water. Many of the dogs suffered from acute radiation sickness, which caused vomiting, diarrhea, and painful sores. Some died within days of exposure, while others suffered for weeks or even months before succumbing to their injuries. But amidst the horror, there are stories of hope. One such story is that of Lucky, a beagle who was rescued from a government lab after being subjected to weeks of intense radiation exposure. Lucky was in a bad shape when he was rescued. His fur had fallen out in patches, his eyes were swollen shut, and he was severely malnourished. But Lucky's luck changed when he was taken in by a loving family who nursed him back to health. Despite his traumatic past, Lucky was a resilient dog with a gentle disposition. He loved nothing more than curling up on the couch with his new family, playing in the backyard, and going for long walks in the park. Over time, Lucky's health improved, and he became a beloved member of the family. His fur grew back, his eyes healed, and he put on weight. He even made some new furry friends at the dog park, where he loved to run and play. Lucky's story is a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable cruelty and suffering, there is always hope for a better future. While we can never undo the harm that was done to the dogs in the U.S. government's secret radiation experiments, we can honor their memory by adopting rescue dogs like Lucky and giving them the love and care they deserve.